Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a brand new video where I talk about my experience of doing shadowing every single day. If you're new here, I was doing this challenge, like 30-day challenge. So I was practicing my speaking skills for a month and I was doing it mainly using shadowing technique. And I did it just because I really wanted to check out this technique, to check out this method and to, learn whether it's worth it, whether it is impactful and effective. And today in this video, I'm going to give you feedback and some insights of this whole journey and this whole experience. So let's get started. But before we continue, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. And if you're interested in doing the same thing, which is like 30-day speaking challenge, then go to the playlist which I have on my YouTube channel. It's called 30-day challenge practice, I think. So, and start with the day 1, and every single day from that day you need to do at least something in order to improve your speaking skills. It can be shadowing, which I'm doing in these videos, or it can be anything else, but it has to be connected with and related to, speaking. So that's a very interesting challenge, and I think it will definitely affect your language. So more about that further. First and foremost, I want to remind all of you, if you haven't seen the video number 1, which is like intro to the challenge, why did I start this challenge? The idea of, doing this challenge came to me like several years ago. I think it was in 2020 or 2022. And I was actually pretty serious about it because back then I felt like I already have like a good level of English, but I lack practice, I lack, speaking experience, so speaking practice. So that's why I thought like if I don't do something in order to improve my speaking, I will always feel insecure about my current level. And I remember that I was looking for different platforms, sources, learning a lot about it, watching different videos, trying to figure out what to do in order to improve my English. And there were like pretty popular videos on YouTube back then where different YouTubers, English learning YouTubers, they would give this like 30-day plan on how to improve your English. And I would think like, okay, I need to do this. I need to try this like for 30 days and maybe I'll do it in the format of challenge and maybe I'll launch a whole YouTube channel based on this challenge. But I didn't, unfortunately. So this idea was just put off by me and I didn't do anything. This year, I was determined to do it just because I had this idea once, but I changed the plan. I was like, okay, I will do 30-day challenge, but now, like for now, the more relevant thing for me is to try out some new methods and techniques, which I knew about, but I just didn't do anything with them, So lately, I've been hearing a lot of, shadowing. All YouTubers that I know spoke about this method. They would say that if you don't have an opportunity to practice your English speaking skills, then it definitely can help you to practice your English speaking on your own without any outer help. And hearing that was pretty tempting for me. I was like, okay, what is shadowing? And I gotta be honest, I've heard of this shadowing method years before, but only this year I've been hearing about it more and more. Like, I don't know, people would just show how they do it on camera and everyone would preach about this, like everyone would promote this method. And I would like think, okay, years before, I was pretty much convinced that this is not something that I want to do. But this year I was like, okay, actually I watch a lot of content in English. Every single day I watch at least one video in English, and most of the times this video is like 30 minutes long. And I'm not kidding, guys, that's true. And I was like, okay, actually it has some sense, if I just watch and repeat, that might be pretty much impactful, I guess, because I already do that. Like when I watch something and I like some sentence or phrase, I try to repeat after the speaker. So it sounded like pretty meaningful for me this year. And my perspective on this method just changed fundamentally. But again, the only obstacle that I had on my way was my laziness, my lack of discipline. So I was like, okay, how can I force myself to actually try out this method? And then the idea of 30-day challenge came up again. Imagination. And I was like, oh, right, I can do this 30-day challenge, but it can be related to shadowing technique. So I can launch my YouTube channel and I can try out this technique. And it also can help other people who are interested in learning English and working on their speaking skills. I gotta tell you that this genuine will of forcing myself and also helping others. And also I just, for years I had this idea of wanting to have my own YouTube channel, and I just didn't know how to tackle it, where to start, what to do, and all of it together combined just led me to actually kicking off my own YouTube channel, which we are on right now. I want to remind you how it was at the very beginning of our journey. It was very difficult for me. I did not expect it to be that difficult and hard. And I did not expect it to, be so powerful in terms of working on your muscles. Like my jaw would be so exhausted after that practice that I was like, okay, well, that is powerful. That's something that I should definitely continue doing. And with each time, it was easier and easier and easier for me to shadow people with different pronunciation, with different diction, with different intonations, with different accent even. Do you remember? So I tried it out, and during the process, I remember thinking, okay, whenever I wanted to do the practice, I would think of a person who I would love to shadow. That was something very natural for me. Like I was like, okay, I'm going to shadow a video. I'm going to do the video which I like. I'm going to shadow someone whose speech I like. And throughout this whole challenge, I would tell you this thing. Rule number 1, please shadow people who you really like. I'm not talking about personality per se. I'm just saying speech, like those people whose speech is flawless, clear, understandable. I also have mentioned in those videos that I'm trying to pick up some good phrases and words while I'm shadowing people because, well, usually when I watch something, I always do that. If I hear some new word or phrase which I think is pretty much useful and handy, I would think, okay, well, I'll try to memorize it, I'll try to write it down and work with it later on. And for those of you who watched all videos, you remember that I had this notebook and I would write down all the new words and phrases, and later on, I will work on these phrases and words, making up some different sentences with them, trying to, role play dialogue with my own self. And yeah, so this is very useful for you guys if you want to, get the most of it out of it. So don't neglect this factor. This is very important. Enriching your vocabulary, expanding it, this is one of the parts of shadowing technique. So never be lazy to pay more attention to this. And now, finally, let's talk about the impact of this technique on my English. Does it actually change your speaking? Does it actually improve it? So guys, that's a very interesting question because for me, I am already pretty much fluent, and I know that you can't notice the changes in my speech because while I was speaking in front of a camera, telling something to you, you kind of notice that my speech is pretty fluent. Even though I make mistakes, I stop from, time to time. I'm not that eloquent. A lot of my language is very passive, but still I am pretty fluent. So that's why it's pretty much difficult to actually register the changes and notice the changes. But the only person who can give you that feedback is me. The only person who can actually, evaluate this whole experience is me. And what I can say is that shadowing is powerful 100%. It does change the way you're speaking, although it doesn't change it fundamentally. So what do I mean by that? As I said in my very last videos, any daily practice can be impactful. Any daily practice can make changes. So I believe that if it wasn't for shadowing, or it was for any other method or any other tool or source, I would definitely feel changes just because I had practice. I practiced my English every single day. And when you interact with the language on a daily basis, of course, it has some huge impact on your English. But it's not that much noticeable. Like it's not something that completely changes the way you speak, but you feel it a bit by bit. You just feel that now it's easier for you to say some things. Now it's just easier. That's it. Now your pronunciation is better. Now you're more, you're able to articulate better. And this is something that I have noticed. Even though I haven't noticed like fundamental changes, even though it didn't impact on my speaking, in the super way, it didn't level up my English and I'm still on the same level. But I feel how just daily practice made some changes and I just listed them, like pronunciation, articulation, speech flow, more fluent. Do I recommend to do shadowing? Guys, yes, I do. I recommend you to use this technique and this method. I hope that you don't assume that just doing only shadowing can make huge changes. That's not true. But as any practice, if you do it on a daily basis, if you do it every day, and if you do it very intentionally, you will see the results eventually. And that is true. Not only on the flow, not only on your fluency, but also on your like vocabulary. It will affect everything. But you need to be consistent. And that's the tricky part of it. Because, well, we all know that there are so many sources, platforms, stuff that you can use to practice your speaking or any other aspect of language. But most of us don't do it. Why? Because the same reason, we're not disciplined enough. We're lazy. Let's be honest. Most of us are. So for me, shadowing is just one of these methods which is pretty suitable for people who are lazy. So whenever you're watching something in English, do shadowing. This is the easiest way to work on your English. That's why I highly recommend to use it. Just only because of that, to be honest. Like one of the reasons is like, I think you can find other methods and techniques which are more impactful and powerful and effective and can make like huge changes in your speaking, but they need more effort. But shadowing is just a lazy way to actually work on your English and to actually speak every day. So that's why I highly recommend to use this method. Again, for those who are lazy, perfect. Just perfect. Shadowing is perfect method. And what I want to say at the end is that I'm proud of myself, of course. I'm happy that I finished this challenge, but I'm not satisfied with the results. I gotta be honest. Just because, I think I imagined too much when I was starting it. I was thinking like if I do this for 30 days, it will make a huge difference in my English. But no, it didn't. And it's pretty logical. And I know how language works. It takes time. It just accumulates. Every little effort that you make, every little practice that you did, it just accumulates it within some time. You'll see the results. That's how it usually works. But still, when you're doing something like that, you just really want to see like quick results, like huge outcome. And it's not. It doesn't work that way. So that's why I can't say that the 30 days changed my English completely, but it definitely changed it a little bit. Or maybe not a little bit, I'm just not objective here. I think I'm pretty subjective here because I had like high expectations and that was a mistake. But overall, shadowing was a very interesting part of this journey. And I definitely will implement this method in my further practice. I will do it. Actually, as I said before, I watch a lot of YouTube, so I'm going to do it in a lazy way. Every time when I watch something, if I feel like that, I will try to shadow people because now I know how it works and now I know how to do that and it's easier for me to do it. So why not, right? If it can actually be helpful, which can actually be helpful. I know that now. So again, I did 30-day challenge. I finished my 30-day challenge. I completed this challenge successfully and I tried out shadowing method and I gave you all of this feedback, which is like real, and you actually can go to my very first videos, to these videos that I've made throughout this challenge and watch them and see and observe how it was going and make your own conclusions. So that's for me, guys. From now on, I'm gonna make different videos about how to improve your English. I also gonna do some practice. I also gonna try some new methods, and I also gonna film all of that and post it and upload it on YouTube. And I hope that it can be helpful. It will be helpful for you, and it also can change your speaking and my speaking, and we can do it together. I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of like little projects that I want to do with you guys. So stay tuned. Don't forget to hit this notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe, like, leave the comments below, please. I know this is not because of algorithms. I gotta be honest. I ask you to leave the comments below because whenever I see this feedback from you, I feel very motivated to keep doing what I'm doing. So I'll see you in the next video, which will be very soon. Bye.